How does one deal with a cheating spouse? Amy was devastated when she found out that her husband was already sleeping with another woman just 2 years into their marriage. But even then, she decided to stay with him and try to make things work.
When did you first start noticing a difference or infidelity?
Pretty early on in the marriage. Again, you know something is wrong, and I don't think it's denial, but I think it's an inability to confront what you fear. Because if you ask the question, and I suspect maybe Irene felt the same way, if you ask the question of the person, if you have the confrontation, what is the result you want? So even if you have suspicions, and I had mine, maybe didn't want to deal with it until it came to a head-on situation where I was unfortunate enough to witness my husband in, and it's not very intimate, but in a very close way with somebody else. What comes to mind is devastating. It's like, you know, an earthquake that bang and just like swallowed up. You really don't know how to react. Then your mind goes back and starts thinking, oh, yeah, I should have known, yeah, this, and all the signs come back to you. And when I look back on it, it was like, he's the person who hurt me. He's the person who has to make it better for me. If he goes away, I have to deal with this and I have to make this better on my own, and I can't. I need him to say sorry. I need him to hold my hand and tell me that he loves me best. You know, I need him to make it better. How can he look at you and behave so normally in front of you and at the same time be doing this? Is our marriage a lie? So many questions, you know, you hate the woman, you think that if she never came, then none of this would have happened. You want to blame someone, but in the end you know that he's the only person to blame. Sometimes you even end up blaming yourself. Like in my case, I said, well, maybe I wasn't a good enough wife. Maybe if I was prettier, maybe if I go to the gym and slim down, or if I, you know, go and do my hair, or, you know, dress better, or, you know, I'm sweeter, I'm more loving, I'm more kind.
Well, people stay for very many reasons. I think, like we said, you know, once that initial set of emotions, the first few weeks is over, people do sit down and think of their options. Very often people realize that, you know, they've invested a lot in this relationship. There are many good things about it as well. And sometimes they also realize that there were things going on in their relationship, and besides the infidelity that has happened, there were other things going on in their own relationship that may need to be fixed. And weighing it all, they may decide to stay. For some, I mean, some women, I guess, in a situation where they feel that if they leave, especially if they have kids, right, it becomes very difficult for them because, you know, they probably may not be economically viable.
But it's only as the dust settles and, you know, when you really look back years later, that you know that it isn't your fault, and you can take the blame off yourself, and you can look at the person and say, hey, you know, this is not acceptable.
Amy has been married to her husband for 20 years, and she has caught him cheating on countless occasions.
What is a marriage? You know, marriage is not, it's not the mistakes. It's not only about the mistakes. It's about the birth of your child, the first steps, the birthdays, the anniversaries, the family gatherings, the bereavements you go through together, the financial difficulties, the building up of businesses, the friendships that you make. You know, there's so much more. People just say, oh, walk out. You know, you don't just walk out on a guy, you walk out on a life.
That said, Amy feels that if she could turn back time, she might have done things differently.
I think the first time that I forgave him, he did it and I forgave him, I think I actually made it easier for him to do. Because by the second and third and fourth time that he was doing this, it's like, but you forgave me before, so why won't you forgive me this time? Although I still make a big deal of it. Of course, life was never the same again.
I think as humans, one, you know, we've known somebody over a long period of time. We know what their character is like. Very often, based on that, you may decide that based on the circumstances, this is a one-time off thing that probably may not happen again. However, My take is this, on the other hand, like, if somebody is repeatedly cheating and tells you, I think it's time to rethink about it. How true are these words? It's like cry wolf, isn't it?
I'd watch him. Initially, I used to say, okay, we'll get back together on these terms. And then after these terms, then they all get broken. I said, okay, let's try something else. Now you tell me what you're going to do. Then he would write down or tell me all the things he's going to do. And then he'd break them again. And then say, okay, now next time we'll try a counselor. So we went to marriage counseling more than one psychologist and psychiatrist trying to help us. I don't know, maybe it's stubbornness, I don't know, but I felt that there would be a point that he would stop. But the point just became further and further. It was a lot further. If I'd known it was that far away, I probably would not have forgiven him the first time. But then we don't have any crystal balls, we can't see the future.
Amy's patience and forgiveness seems to know no bounds. So what would be a deal breaker for her? That's in our next clip.